distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
It's a great honor to be invited by the conference organizers to speak on the topic challenges and opportunities for Islamic education development in the disruption era. I must say that this topic has garnered global attention, and I believe its significance extends beyond the borders of Indonesia. The lessons we derive from this discussion are critical to shaping the future of our nation and the world at large. My name is Ricard, an alumnus of. I come from Ghana and also a lecturer at the Evangelical Presbyterian University College. And I am deeply honored to share my thoughts on the challenges and opportunities facing Islamic education in this fast-changing world. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to offer a few remarks to set the tone for my speech. We are all aware of the numerous conflicts raging across the globe today, leading to countless deaths and unimaginable human suffering. This crisis has brought the world to a collective realization, unprecedented in recent history, that change in global leadership is desperately needed. Even the staunchest proponents of war and imperialist leaders can no longer ignore the demand for new approaches. This conference comes at a critical moment. I firmly believe its legacy will be to inspire a renewed sense of integrity in what I term technology leadership. As we navigate the challenges and opportunities facing Islamic education in the disruption era, integrity, I argue, is the most reliable means of mitigating the negative consequences on the development of Islamic education. And this, I believe, is a key message that will run through my presentation today. In a world experiencing leadership crisis, integrity is more important than ever. Islamic education, with integrity at its core, stands as a powerful social tool for addressing this global leadership deficit. I insist that technology, when not guided by leadership rooted in integrity, becomes a source of negative disruption. I argue, or I urge, all to recognize the profound role that Islamic education, led with integrity, can play in shaping a more just and ethical world as we confront the challenges of the disruption era. Now I'd like to address the topic for the conference proper. I'd like to start with a brief reflection. Many of us grew up in a world where the pace of change was slow, where education followed predictable path, and where tradition formed the backbone of our learning environment. But today, we stand on the edge of a world that is rapidly transforming, where change is the only constant, and education, including Islamic education, must keep the pace. The disruption era presents both threats and opportunity for Islamic education. But the question is, are we ready to adapt? That is the question. In this evolving landscape, ladies and gentlemen, Islamic education holds a unique place. It is not only impact knowledge, but shape values, morals, and ethics based on divine teachings. However, like all forms of education, it is not immune to disruption. But rather than viewing this as a challenge, I propose that we see it as an opportunity, a chance to adapt, innovate, and preserve the core of Islamic education in a way that is both relevant and impactful in our modern world. So today, my message is simple. By embracing the disruption era, Islamic education can thrive. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us explore how the very challenges that may seem like threats can actually pave the way for growth, renewal, and enhanced learning experiences. So I'd like to please roll back the previous. Okay. Is it done? No, roll back the previous one. I think this is there. I should have been controlling my slides. It's okay. Okay. It's all right. It's okay. So now I'd like to look at what the disruption era is. Before we get into the specifics, let's take a closer look at what we mean by the disruption era. Good. That's fine. That's fine. Let's look at what we mean by the disruption era. This term actually refers to a time when rapid changes in technology, society, and the global economy are fundamentally reshaping every aspect of our lives. From the smartphones and social media to artificial intelligence and automation. These innovations are transforming how we learn, how we teach, and how we engage with the world. For Islamic education, this era brings both immense opportunities and significant responsibilities. Technology, for example, has made knowledge more accessible than ever before. I take that again. Technology has made knowledge more accessible than ever before. According to recent studies, about 80% of Muslim youth are active users of digital media. And it's also estimated that 50% of them regularly access online Islamic content. And if my information or this research is true, then that is very, very huge. And I see this as an opportunity for the development of Islamic education. Islamic education, rooted in centuries-old tradition, is not stranger to these changes. While some may see disruption as a threat to our long-standing practices, I strongly believe, it presents a tremendous opportunity. For example, the rise of online learning platforms has opened the door for millions around the world to access Islamic knowledge without the need for physical classrooms. Ladies and gentlemen, whether through online Quran recitation, digital madrasas, or mobile apps that teach Arabic, technology is already transforming how Islamic knowledge is shared. On the other hand, we must ensure that the content being accessed is authentic, accurate, and in line with Islamic principles. Another aspect of this disruption is the growing influence of social media. Platforms like the YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok have become vehicles through which Islamic scholars, educators, and thought leaders reach wider audiences, especially the youth. While some argue that this disruption dilutes the depth of traditional learning, others see it as a powerful tool to engage the next generation in ways that resonate with them. Of course, with disruption comes a set of challenges. This question arises: how do we maintain the authenticity, rigor, and spiritual integrity of Islamic education in the face of the rapid change? The key lies in finding a balance, which is very, very critical. A balance between tradition and innovation. Rather than resisting the shifts, we must harness the tools of the modern era to strengthen Islamic education and make it more accessible to those who need it most. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not stop at the challenges only. Let's also consider the existing opportunities for Islamic education within the disruption era. In fact, this disruption is not something to be feared. We shouldn't fear the dispensation in which we find ourselves. We can't push it away. There's nothing we can actually do about it. It has come to stay. Rather than being fearful of it, let's consider it as a doorway that can lead to a profound innovation and deeper engagement with the teaching of Islam. That is very important.
Is your family big?
One of the greatest opportunities disruption offers is increased accessibility. That is very huge. Increased accessibility. That is one of the gifts of the disruption era. Increased accessibility. Islamic education, traditionally centered in physical institutions like madrasas, mosques, or Islamic universities, is no longer confined to those with the means or proximity to access it. Through online platforms, mobile apps, and virtual classrooms, anyone, anywhere in the world can now study Islam, learn the Quran, or explore Islamic jurisprudence. Very important. This is truly remarkable, and I see and find it extremely remarkable. For instance, a child in a remote village or a busy professional in a bustling city can now connect with scholars and teachers globally with just a few clicks. This democratization of education can potentially create a global demand that is better informed, united, and spiritually strong. I consider this very powerful. Another significant opportunity offered by disruption era is the diversification of teaching methods. In the traditional setting, Islamic education has often followed a rote learning approach, focusing on memorization. While these methods are valuable, the disruption era invites us to incorporate modern pedagogical strategies that foster critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. Ladies and gentlemen, all these are something preached or welcomed by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him. It's something he's encouraged. So with the help of interactive digital tools, immense videos, and even AI-driven teaching assistance, students can now engage with Islamic knowledge in ways that are more stimulating and suited to their learning styles. You will agree with me. Before I walk into this world, most of you were seriously interfacing with your mobile phone or busy manipulating your mobile phone. And that tells you, just try to project that to the entire Indonesia and see the number of people who are likely to be interfacing or using mobile phone at this moment, and see the opportunities that is presented in reaching out to these young minds in this era of uncertainty. There are so many things that is going on in the minds of this youth, and I think the disruption era or the era of technology has the potential of reaching these troubled minds and assist them in conforming to the principles of Islam. Moreover, this disruption has sparked a global movement toward lifelong learning. In the past, formal education was often seen as something for the youth, something to be completed before the responsibilities of adulthood took over. But today, more adults are taking advantage of online learning opportunities to deepen their understanding of Islam. That is a gift from the disruption era. Whether through self-paced courses, podcasts, or live webinars with respected scholars, others around the world are returning to study whatever they want to do. Seeking not only spiritual growth, but also guidance for the challenges of modern life. This aligns beautifully with the Islamic principles that seeking knowledge is a lifelong endeavor, regardless of age or status. Another important aspect of this era is how disruptions allow Islamic education to reach new and more diverse audiences. Today, non-Muslims have the golden opportunities to be exposed to Islamic knowledge, and this is a gift offered to us by the disruption era. In the past, religious education might have been limited to those within specific communities, cultures, or linguistic groups. Now, Islamic scholars and educators can share their teaching with a global audience, breaking down cultural and geographical barriers. English, for instance, has become a common global language for delivering Islamic content across the world, meaning that people from all walks of life, whether they are new converts, those rediscovering or those rediscovering their faith, or even non-Muslims curious about Islam, can now access high quality, authentic Islamic knowledge in ways that resonate with them. Take social media influencers who share Islamic teachings as an example. Many of them are able to present complex topics, and these influencers do a lot of jobs. They do marvelous work. Like Islamic ethics, they break this down, philosophies, or jurisprudence in ways that are digestible and reliable to young people. Sometimes I believe they do not better work, but they do great work compared to some of our scholars. They're able to break these complex concepts so simple for people to really relate with them. They use engaging formats like short videos, informatics, and live question and answer sessions, reaching audiences who might not otherwise engage with Islamic education in traditional forms. This is a tremendous opportunity to engage the youth who are often more comfortable on these platforms than in a traditional classroom setting. We are now able to bring Islamic values, ethics, and knowledge into the spaces where young people spend most of their time. This is very important. As I indicated earlier, one of the most exciting opportunities is the potential for Islamic education to address contemporary issues in ways that are both rooted in tradition and relevant to modern contexts. Many of the challenges faced by Muslims today, whether it be navigating social justice issues, understanding the ethics ethical implications of modern technology, or finding balance in the fast-paced materialistic world requires solutions grounded in Islamic principles. By embracing digital disruption, we can ensure that the content being taught remains relevant to the needs of our time. Online forums, discussion groups, and even virtual scholarly councils can be created. These are some of the propositions that I am preferring. That online forums, discussion groups, and even virtual scholarly councils can be created to address these questions online, providing Muslims with guidance that is not only authentic but also timely. But as with all opportunities, there is a need for a balance. Whilst we embrace the tools of the disruption era, we must also ensure that the core principles of Islamic education remains intact. That is very important. Even though we are amenable to a disruption era, or we are ready to adapt, the core principles must not change. The core principles of Islam must not change. Because then if it changes, then there is no Islamic education, or there is no Islamic or Islam in the first place. So the core values or principles must remain. Islamic education is about transmitting not just knowledge, but also values, ethics, spirituality. It is about shaping hearts and minds, guiding individuals towards a life of faith, service, and righteousness. This means that while we take advantage of online learning and social media, we must be mindful of maintaining the integrity of the knowledge being shared. We must need to ensure that teachers and scholars continue to uphold the highest standard of knowledge transmission, and that technology serves as a complement to the deep face-to-face interaction that has always been the hallmark of Islamic education. The disruption era in no way should replace tradition. It should always serve as a complement. That must be understood. After all, learning in Islam is not just about absorbing information, it's about cultivating a relationship with other teachers and fellow learners, and ultimately with Allah. As we move forward, Islamic educators, institutions, and scholars must remain at the forefront of this conversation. We must be active participants in shaping how this disruption unfolds for Islamic education. It is not enough to react to the changes. We must be proactive in designing learning experiences that are not cut-edging, but also deeply rooted in our rich tradition. Islamic scholars should be at the forefront. We should not always be reactive. That is very important.